So with the World Cup over and finished, Manchester City, we've only signed one player so far. That, of course, is Riyad Mahrez. It's been well known that we've been chasing Jorginho, a player that recently joined Chelsea a few days ago after the Napoli manager managed to bring along his former teammate to his former player, to his new club. And it's glaringly obvious what Man City need right now, and that is someone to come in and rotate with Fernandinho and be his long-term replacement. Fernandinho, who's been a phenomenal servant for us, but let's not forget he's getting on now. I don't know if whoever we're bringing is going to replace him as a starter in the first team, but we certainly need someone who can go in there and do just as much of a good job as he can in a defensive capacity and in a maintaining the ball capacity, keeping the ball flowing, keeping the moves going, starting the ball rolling in the midfield. And that is exactly what we're going to be looking at in today's video. A few alternatives to Jorginho now he's gone to Chelsea. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. These are just a few players that I'd like to see join from Man City, players that I think can either fill the void right now or have got the potential to do so in the future. And yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Let me know suggestions of players that you think could come in to replace Jorginho essentially and fill that Fernandinho-sized hole that's going to be in midfield from next season. Because I think, you know, this season he might still be able to pull it off for another year, but next year he's going to be, what, 34 going on 35? The amount of work and the miles that he puts in, particularly this year after the World Cup, is going to be a big test for him, and something that I don't know if he's going to be able to manage for another 2 years, quite frankly. But yeah, let me know your suggestions in the comment section down below, and leave a big thumbs up if you do enjoy the video. I mean, the support on the Mahrez signing video, my reaction to that was phenomenal, so if we can get anywhere near that again, lads, that'd be absolutely amazing. But without any further ado, let's look at option number one. So the first player that we're going to be looking at is going to be probably the most heavily linked player to replace Jorginho, as it were, so to speak, and that is Mateo Kovacic, a player from Croatia. Of course, Croatia doing phenomenally well in the World Cup, getting to the final. Not that Kovacic had a massive part to play in that. He made a couple of appearances off the bench, but didn't play a ton of football for them. Plays for Real Madrid currently. He's a young player. He's coming into that stage of his career where he needs to get some football under his belt, I feel like, and he has the potential to be a phenomenal player. Definitely got the potential there without any question. You know, there's a reason Real Madrid signed him. He's a player with tons of ability, got phenomenal passing success. I think it's something around the 93-94% region over the last season in the games that he's played, and he is a very raw talent. Is he a player that can fit Fernandinho's mould? I don't think so as much, but I thought we should cover him just because he's the player that's linked so much. I see him as more of an attacking player, probably more of a Gundogan style player. And Gundogan, you know, he did play that Fernandinho position a few times last season. However, the games he played that in was either because Fernandinho was injured or games where we perhaps had a bit more licence to not have to defend as much. And he was a good player for bringing the ball forward, passing it, but his defensive qualities are just nowhere near on the same level of Fernandinho. And that's kind of how I see Kovacic. I think he's a player that is very gifted, great passer of the ball, like I say, great dribbler of the ball, very creative, but can he do the dirty work? His work ethic is something that I don't think is in question, but defensively, has he got the mindset and the defensive nous, the positioning, so to speak, to fill that Fernandinho void? I personally don't think he has, and the transfer fee that Real Madrid are demanding for him is in a massive region, sort of 50 to 60 million a game. I don't see him being worth that much for the needs that for the needs that we require, if that makes sense. Like, if we needed a more attacking player, perhaps then he would be worth it, but I just don't think he fits the void that we're after, and I think there's better options out there, which are the players that we're going to move on to now. So my first big recommendation, the first player that I'd love us to bring in, is a player that's in his prime, which fits the model that we've gone in with signings in the past. If you think about it, the likes of David Silva, Fernandinho being an example. All players that we brought in their late 20s, in their prime, ready to go straight into the team. And I think that's exactly what this player could do. Miralem Pjanic, a fantastic passer of the ball for Juventus. Great passing percentage, regular starter in a successful team. Got that experience that you require in the Man City midfield, the know-how. And he's very accomplished at that CDM role. He's played it a little bit for Juventus, perhaps more favoured a little bit further forward, but still could most definitely slot it into that CDM position without any problems, in my opinion. Of course, he's not played in the Premier League, but the quality that he's got, I don't think there'll be any issues with him coming in whatsoever. And I think if you look at the progression of Manchester City in that CDM position, that will be another step in the right direction. Before we had Nigel de Jong, who was a player that could win the ball really well. Passing wasn't incredible, but he played it sideways a lot of the time. Nothing wrong with that. Fantastic player. Absolutely loved de Jong at his time at City. We then upgraded to Fernandinho, who's a player that was just as good defensively, but had a bit more of an eye for a forward pass, and, you know, scored the occasional cracker as well. Let's not forget Fernandinho. Supplied us with a few absolute worldies over the last few years. And I think Pjanic would be another advancement on that kind of player. A better passer than Fernandinho, I have no doubts about that. Maybe not quite as good defensively, but still, again, I think he could do that job very, very well. And he brings the set-piece arsenal with him as well. He's fantastic on free kicks and corners. The long-range passing is probably a little bit better than Fernandinho's as well. And just a bit more creative, but still got that defensive nous as well. Maybe not quite as physical as some of the other alternatives, but still someone that can certainly put a shift in and work really, really well in the heart of midfield. And I think if we had him, the potential to have Pjanic, David Silva and Kevin De Bruyne playing through the middle together is absolutely frightening, and he's the player that I'd love us to really go out there and get. I think he'd fit the bill perfectly for what we're after. Juventus might need a little bit of cash potentially. Of course, I've just splashed out 80-odd million on Cristiano Ronaldo. Maybe that means they need to flog a couple of players. You know, we've seen Higuain linked to Dybala's been linked away loosely a little bit. Maybe Pjanic could be the player. Again, it'd be a large transfer fee. I think you're talking in the region of 60-70 million for Pjanic, but he would be worth it. He'd be a player that's in his prime right now and could certainly do a job in the next 2 or 3 years for us. And phenomenal player, and I think he will be an incredible signing, an incredible addition to the squad. Speaking of players that are currently in their prime with huge amounts of skill, dribbling, passing, all that in his locker, Thiago Alcantara. Phenomenal player. A player that's worked with Pep Guardiola in the past as well, of course, at Bayern Munich. And potentially at Barcelona as well. He might have worked with him at Barcelona. I'm not entirely sure on that. But certainly he was a big figure in him bringing him to Bayern Munich. And he's a player that, like Pjanic, incredible on eye for a pass. A little bit shorter and perhaps lacks the physicality of Fernandinho again. I mean, Fernandinho, let's not forget, he's not a big guy, but he's strong on the ball, strong in the challenge. And that's something that we mentioned Pjanic Pjanic isn't quite up there with Fernandinho, and I think Thiago's even a step down on Pjanic. He's someone that certainly has played that CDM position and done really well for Bayern Munich when he has played, but he's not been a regular feature for Bayern Munich, and his injuries have played a big part in that. He's a bit similar to Ilkay Gundogan. When you look at Gundogan for us in the past, we got him for a good fee because of his injury record, and that's proved to be a decent signing. You know, whenever he's come in, he's done a great job in my opinion, and Thiago could potentially be that kind of player again, the player that can be rotated in with Fernandinho and do a good job in there. But to me, again, similarly really to Kovacic, is he a bit too much in Gundogan's mould? Maybe a little bit. He's certainly a level above Fernandinho in ability in my opinion, but I don't think he's quite got the dominant nature that Fernandinho brings. And although Pjanic again doesn't bring that either, I think Pjanic is a level above Thiago in that part of his game. I think Thiago's probably a little bit better on the dribble. His passing's just as good as Pjanic, right up there again. And again, the work rate of Thiago is something that I would question. You know, he's certainly played that CDM role a little bit for Bayern Munich, and he's done well there, but when it comes to box-to-box play, when it comes to being crunching in the tackle, the pace of the Premier League, could Thiago keep up with that? There's question marks there for me. There's question marks, especially with the injuries had in the past. There's another player that we have been linked with, and I think we could get him for a reasonable fee because of his injuries in the past and the fact that he's not a regular starter for Bayern Munich. But for me, there's still question marks. But again, 27 years old, coming into the prime, could still be a fantastic addition to the squad. But I don't think it's at the same level as Pjanic, who is someone that I'd really like to see us bring in, as I've just mentioned. So with Thiago and Miralem Pjanic, the passing ability is what I really think brought them to the forefront now. Their ability to dictate the play. The player that we're going to look at now is certainly strong in an area where I think those two players lack, and that is physicality. Julian Weigl could well be a player that's very much available from Borussia Dortmund, a player that's a lot younger than the other two players I've just mentioned, and although that means he's perhaps not in his prime at the age of 22, that goes without saying, perhaps that means that Pep Guardiola, as we've seen him do with many players in the past, could mould him into the perfect player for us. At 6'2", he's a lot stronger and a lot taller than the likes of Pjanic, the likes of Thiago, and definitely the likes of Fernandinho. As I mentioned when I was talking about Thiago, although Fernandinho's not the tallest, he does bring physicality, but you know, 6'2", Julian Weigl, bigger in stature, and he's certainly a lot stronger than the other players we've mentioned. His passing probably isn't up there with the levels of Thiago and Pjanic, but again, working with Guardiola, working with players like David Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, that can surely only help bring out the best in him. And it's got to be said, although he's a player with huge potential and undoubted quality, he didn't have the best season for Borussia Dortmund last season, and that might help bring his transfer fee down a little bit. Again, only 22 years old, but again, played a lot of football in a quality league in the Bundesliga, and certainly a player that I think, when you think about the way that the system's going to work next season, I think you're still going to see Fernandinho playing a lot of football, so maybe it's a question of bringing in someone who perhaps isn't there to replace him now, but someone that can replace him in a couple of years' time. And if you think of Julian Weigl perhaps working alongside Fernandinho, De Bruyne, David Silva, for a couple of years. Then when he's 23, 24, he could become an absolute monster with the experience and knowledge that he's gained. But the real question is, do we need someone that's going to replace Fernandinho now and then see Fernandinho take a back seat, which would be a shame because I still think he's got a lot to give for us, which is what I think would happen if we were to sign Pjanic. Or do we need someone that can sort of learn from Fernandinho, learn from the other players in the squad, learn from Guardiola, and then in a year or two's time, maybe then he'll really start to step up to the forefront, and that's something that Julian Weigl could certainly do, in my opinion, and I think he'd be available for a lot less than the likes of Pjanic and Thiago. I think maybe 30, 40 million, which is still a lot of money, but, you know, in today's market, that's always going to be the case for a quality player. But Julian Weigl certainly someone that I would be reasonably happy with if we bought in, certainly a player that I think could fill that void that we need this year. So we've got two more players that we're going to be taking a look at in this video, and these two are certainly outside the box ones that I haven't really seen being mentioned at all, but just players that I am big fans of that I think would slot into the squad really, really nicely. The first one being Saúl Ñíguez of Atletico Madrid. I think he'd fit in with our philosophy really, really well. He's great on the ball, strong passer with his Spanish links as well. You could see him linking up well with David Silva, and he's just a player that I think is fantastic, and he's another one I think would cost a lot of money to prime away from Atletico Madrid. But, you know, again, working with Guardiola, working with the likes of De Bruyne and David Silva, I think would really push his game on to the next level. Perhaps, again, his defensive qualities aren't quite up there with Fernandinho, but again, with the likes of Thiago and Pjanic that we're mentioning, great on the ball, great dribbler, great on both feet, and someone that would certainly be a creative spark in the middle of the park. Maybe that's not something that we need so much with De Bruyne and David Silva, but, you know, it can't go missing, can it? You know, you can't complain at having more creativity in the midfield, in my opinion. I think he's got powerful running from midfield. He's certainly got the energy to be getting up and down, which is something that Fernandinho does so well. And, yeah, Saúl Ñíguez is really a player that I rate very, very highly. I think he'd be a very nice fit at City, but honestly, I don't see him as being someone that would be able to bring in, I think, because of the cost. I think he's pretty happy at Atletico Madrid, not really been linked away. But, I mean, I think that would be a huge, huge signing. And the last player in a similar kind of mould, really, is Adrien Rabiot. Perhaps a little bit better defensively. He's got the stature, again, 6'2" or 6'3", I think Rabiot is. But he's a regular starter, the Frenchman, for PSG. And it would take a lot of money to pry him away. I think, you know, you look at his age, I think he's 22, 23. He has got a huge amount of potential, and already playing so well for PSG again because of his physicality. I think he'd fit in the squad really, really well. Gives a bit more beefiness in the midfield that I think we could do with, you know, Fernandinho again. Powerful midfielder without being so tall. I mean, height isn't something that's necessarily required in the Man City 11. You look at our teams last season; it was really, really short, but I don't think it could hurt to have a bit more height in there and physicality. But Rabiot, still, although he's got the height, he's got great dribbling, great passing on all the feet. He can really surge forward through the midfield. And I think, again, similar to what I was saying about Saúl, because of his physicality and his engine, he can get up and down the pitch all game long. I was really surprised, actually, that he wasn't included in the French squad for the World Cup. I mean, you know, they did win the thing, so obviously that question mark was never really there in the first place. But yeah, Rabiot, again, be a massive fee to get him in from PSG, but I think it'd be a huge, huge success at City. Again, the French links, you know, with Benjamin Mendy, Aymeric Laporte, you know, I think it fits in really, really well. And you know, it'd be a huge transfer fee and a massive, massive signing if we were to bring him in. Again, I was saying about, I forgot who it was now, that's 22, Julian Weigl, I think it was. You could see him slotting in there as a bit of a rotation this season, then learning from De Bruyne, learning from Fernandinho, learning from David Silva, pushing his game onto the next level, and then you could see him doing phenomenally well next year when he'd be adjusted a bit more to the Premier League and have that bit more experience under his belt. But yeah, out of all the players that I've mentioned, I think Miralem Pjanic should be the perfect fit if you're wanting someone to slot in right now. I think he's a phenomenal player, got the ability, got the defensive know-how, got a great pass, brings a lot to the table, in my opinion, Miralem Pjanic. And like I say, with Ronaldo coming in, they might need to raise the funds from somewhere to balance out the book, so that is a genuine possibility, in my opinion. If we're talking someone a bit more younger, I would love to see Saúl Ñíguez or Rabiot come in. I think Weigl would be a good signing because I think Guardiola could mould him into a bit more of a ball-playing central midfielder. Like I say, his passing is a little bit lacking, in my opinion, and let's not forget he didn't have a great season for Dortmund, so he's got some good some bouncing back to do. But I think Saúl Ñíguez would be phenomenal. Rabiot probably a little bit better defensively, so you know, when it comes to a future player, Ñíguez, Rabiot or Weigl I'll be pretty happy with. But if we were to go out there and get Pjanic, to me, that would be the ultimate signing for the gap that needs filling in our team right now, in my opinion. But that's just my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. If you think there's a player of me stuff, I mean, there's a ton of central midfielders out there. I'm sure there's going to be people that you guys recommended that I've not mentioned. So let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know out the ones that I've mentioned who you would like us to see bring in the most. Do you agree with me? Do you think Pjanic would be the perfect fit, or do you think we need to go someone a little bit younger that we could perhaps mould into the next great central midfielder? But that's going to end up the video anyway, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. As I mentioned at the start, any support on this would be amazing. If we got, anywhere near the support we had, on the Mahrez video would be absolutely insane. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the rest of your evenings. I will catch you all in the next video in a couple of days' time. Nidge out.